Does a word of prophecy about you personally leave you without any choice in the matter? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 5 of the Torah portion of Vayeki. Let's go to Bereshit of Genesis chapter 49 and read 2 verses, verse 1 and 2. And Yaakov gathered his sons and said, "Gather together, so that I declare to you what is to befall you in the last days." That's important. "Gather together and hear, you sons of Yaakov." And then he says, "Listen to Israel, your father." A lot of clues to be gathered here initially. Obviously, then, what he is going to describe to them is that based on their current revealed and established character, there is to be evidence of this character in future generations in the last days. Now, when are the last days? That's a great question. Everybody believes they know exactly when and how that's going to work out. There's a lot to be said about the last days, a lot saying we don't know a lot. We have clues, we have prophecies, we have indications, we have theories, we have timelines, we have multitudes of teachers all pointing out, well, it's going to be like this, and the last day started on this date, and it will conclude on that date, or it's going to start, and then it will conclude, and bodies in the heavens and blood moons are to be taken into account. They're important. Let's pay attention. But exactly when, how, and where, there's a lot of things that we're just going to trust the Father through. Personally, when anyone comes to me with a linear timeline, we're starting at point A and we're going to point B, and these are all the events on this linear timeline. I don't look at that as seriously as those who see things cyclical. That is this Hebrew understanding of time. It moves in a cycle rather than a Greek mindset of linear. Just a clue. The book of Revelation, you see things happen here on earth, things in the heavens, and then things that seem to be in between. And the lower heavens is a way of saying it in the spiritual realm. Sometimes things in the heavens manifest on the earth, and maybe sometimes they don't. Then there are thunders that sound that we don't know what they say. There are things that Daniel was told to seal up and not record. So there is the unknown, those things unable to be anticipated. What are they about? We don't know. But we know he who walks in the future. For Yah, time is timeless. It's the same in his perspective as it was before the beginning. And from before the beginning, he knows all things. He didn't just know it. He knows all things. Nothing surprises him. Let's also consider this. Yah is not working details out about next events on a whim. He's not playing it by ear. He's not calculating as he goes. Neither does he need to make adjustments. It's already been declared. So what about the role of man? If we have a prophecy, such as these young men here, each of these 12 sons and their descendants, do we have a choice in the matter? Is it already declared for us? And there's nothing we can do about it. Just go along with the plan and see what happens. I think there's more to it than that. So where is the balance? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's look at this. It says, "Gather together and hear, you sons of Yaakov, you are physical lineage sons." But then he says, "Listen to Israel, your father," the spiritual part of us. There are physical issues, life experiences, and situations that we're going to deal with. We're going to need to know where our food is coming from, how we're going to transport, how we're going to save for our future, how we're going to order our children's lives, how we're going to build what we're going to train, teach, and study for. Sitting back in a bunker mindset and just holding on to the end is not wise. Neither do I believe that that's what Yah is asking us to do. It's always a good idea to have some extra on hand. You need some extra food. You need some water supply. You need some funds. You need, some supplies. Not just because the end times, the last days are possibly, maybe even realistically upon us, but just in case that there is a power shortage, a brownout for some reason. Maybe there's a storm that it comes through and it knocks out your power. Do you have enough food and water to hold up in your house until the power's turned back on? Just using emergency mindset and being prepared for a bit of endurance. That's wise on anybody's case. Our forefathers did that all the time. Grandma had her little storage of food that she had canned and she had set aside, and that she was just being prepared for a rainy day. So that's wisdom. Are you going to be able to store up enough food and enough water and beans and bullets and Band-Aids to last you for whatever the length of the last days are? Probably not. And if you have it, can you defend it? And what will you do with it? So there is a lot of trust that's just going to have to come into play. Be prepared, listen, discern, and pay attention. Now, the spiritual part of us needs to listen to what Yaakov said. He said to Reuben, you're my firstborn, you're full of strength, you have all these capabilities and qualities, but you're unstable. What do we hear from that? Stabilize yourself. Learn to be stable and have stability. Be founded and grounded. Shimeon and Levi, you're not to operate together. You provoke one another in the wrong direction. So those people that provoke us and that urge us into the wrong directions and that we always seem to get in trouble with, you need to discern your relationships and what level of importance that they might have in your life. Concerning the other tribes, Zebulun, Issachar, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, and Benjamin, he gives them fleeting little glimpses, little clues, little lines that we may not even understand. But out of that, let's understand we need some Issachars that have the ability to discern and to bear burdens and to be of a servant heart. We need Zebulun that knows how to transport and navigate and move from one location to the other. We might need some judges like those from Dan to help us to figure out what's the next steps. Gad's a strong army who's been experienced having been plundered. Well, he wins in the end. So those are the guys you want to be with, those who win in the end. Asher may be a source of funding for the future and materials. Naphtali gives us poetic flows and encourages our heart with song and with a sharp word of wisdom and understanding. And Benjamin's known to be stealthy. Well, let's being a little sneaky every once in a while may come into play. We just don't know. But the vast majority of this is Yehuda and Joseph. These are the two brothers whose houses are the most significant in the last days. And we need to pay attention that the authority and the rulership is in Yehuda, but the double portion blessing and family leading seems to come from Joseph. Both have vital roles to play, and we're going to need to be vitally connected to both houses. So what about us? Position yourself for the best of prophetic words to come to pass. You can, by disobedience and by walking contrary to the word, opt yourself out of what Yah would prefer to intend for you. It's been decreed. It's up to you as to whether or not you're willing to walk in it. Shabbat Shalom to all who watch 10-Minute Torah. Thank you for prayers. Thank you for comments, for subscribing, for hitting the bell, for making emails that encouraged. Sometimes people send support, and that's encouraged and appreciated as well. We're all in this together. Until next week, Shabbat Shalom.